Yeah, we back. Reset time. This my reset. Walking head high. That's the preset. Got the J in the chair, you can breathe it. Exhale. We gon' turn that hurt into detail. This my reset. New page, new frame. Hit the refresh. If you made it to the screen, that's a big flex. Type here in the box, that's progress. That's progress. You've been carrying that weight since the group chat. Smiling in the pic, but you knew that. Heart say break, mind say keep going. Now you in the lobby and the lights start glowing. Edge laid, hoodie on, still holy. Tear stains on the sleeve, still cozy. Black girl doc with the big gold hoops. Say your name and the chain get loose. This my reset, walking head high. That's the preset. The J in the chat, you can breathe it. Exhale, we gon' turn that hurt into detail. This my reset, new page, new frame. Hit the refresh. If you made it to the screen, that's a big flex. Type here in the box, that's progress. That's progress. We wave when we wade through the deep end. We brave when we break, then we deepen. You safe in the space when you log in. Drop one word for your check-in. It's my reset, walking head high. That's the preset. The J in the chat, you can breathe it. Exhale, we gon' turn that hurt into detail. It's my reset, new page, new frame. Hit the refresh. If you made it to the screen, that's a big flex. Type here in the box, that's progress. That's progress.
I see my mic moving now. Hey y'all. Bitching around. That's not nice. In the comments. Okay. So anyways, I'm gonna get started. Okay, so today's episode is about how grief doesn't ask permission. But life keeps going. So that's what we're gonna talk about today. I don't know why my notes did not update, but that's the topic for today. So, welcome. for people that have not been here before, I am Dr. J. This is where we take those WTF moments and we turn them into breakthroughs. So I took off last week because not because I needed a break from the show, it's because life sat me down. I lost my nanny. That's my grandmother. She was 102 years old, full life. And, losing her still hit hard. Beautiful life at that. So I was like, well, most people know how to talk about grief. I mean, they know that they go through grief, right? But we don't necessarily talk about it. Or if we talk about it, it's not like more in a helpful way or a positive way that helps people process what they're going through. So I felt like, why not use myself as an example, because it was so recent. And, here's the thing about grief. It does not send a calendar invite. Like it doesn't ask if this is a good time for it to show up, right? And being an entrepreneur, I'm just like, okay, we gotta do what's good for us, because if we don't show up well, then how am I going to help somebody else, right? So that's what I was focused on. Grief shows up. It still expects you to function. The bills are due. Emails are still coming. Life is still going. Nobody paused your responsibilities. So I know some of you listening right now, are doing exactly that, right? Showing up to work, handling business, taking care of folks, and, nobody sees what you're carrying, and that can feel really heavy. Especially if you've served, like you're trained to push through no matter what. But let me say something that might mess with you just a little bit. Just because you're functioning doesn't mean that you're okay. So some of us are high functioning and low peace. So we don't have a lot of peace. And that's what I want to talk about. So today we're going to get real about grief, loss, what it can actually look like, and how to navigate those hard things without pretending like they're not happening. So let's go. Before we get started, just a quick reminder. Oh, and thank you for the condolences in the chat. I appreciate that, John. Grief can take time. One of my cousins had texted me, it's not a race. I'm like, yeah, girl, I know. So, but yeah, thank you for that. So quick reminder though, I am a therapist. I'm a licensed therapist here in Maryland and Virginia, but I'm not your therapist. So this is just a conversation. It's not treatment. But if you're in crisis, call or text 988. It is crucial for you to not go through things all by yourself or think that you don't have anybody else, because it's not true. And if you're in a crisis, you certainly can call or text. Usually that moment is temporary and we can get through it. And it's just like we need to have some skills to get through it. So hopefully that's where I come in a little bit. But also if it's like, no, girl, this ain't working, then that's fine. Call or text 988, get you some real help. And then I'm also happy to connect people with other connections as well if you reach out to me. Okay. So here's what I think a lot of people don't get told about grief. Like, it doesn't just hit your emotions. A lot of times we'll see like our emotions and it will like be sadness or something like that. So, that is like what we know, but also it affects our nervous system. Why is this about changing your rubber duck narrative? Hey, so thanks for the comment. Put the topic out. This is what we're talking about. If you don't like it, go ahead and log out. Share it with somebody that it may help. But you definitely don't have to, troll this episode. Trying to help people out here that want it, or about this topic. So, anyways, your whole system is affected when you're grieving. So your brain and your body and your ability to focus and your patience and your energy, all of that is affected. And so if you notice like you're forgetting things like you normally wouldn't, or snapping quicker than usual, or feeling exhausted for no reason, or even just numb, like you're just like watching life happen instead of living in it. And if you're someone who is used to being strong and holding it together, that can feel like you're falling apart, but it's not. It's not you breaking, it's your system trying to recalibrate while you're expected to operate at full capacity. So your brain is literally trying to process a loss and keep you alive and keep you productive, and it's doing all of that at the same time. So your brain is like, we're processing loss, and you want me to answer emails? Pick one, and but you don't get to pick one. You have to do both, and that's where it gets hard. So because grief, it doesn't wait for a convenient time. It shows up in the middle of meetings, it's in the middle of conversations, it's in the middle of normal days. And you have to figure out how to navigate it while life still shows up. So that's what we're talking about today. So if you're not trolling, maybe I misunderstood. Could you comment that again and help me understand what you were trying to say? Because I took it as you trolling. So go ahead and comment that again, and we'll try to work that out. Okay. How this works is, we pick a topic and that I usually will encounter a lot throughout the week for real people. And then I'm like, okay, so, 3 or 4 people have wanted to talk about this week. So let me go ahead and put together an episode and see if that can help someone else on a larger scale. So if this is not for you, then that's completely fine. But my purpose is to, try to help further our knowledge a little bit, normalize that we all struggle, and then, give you maybe a tool to try to help you with that. So I'm very neuroscience based, so I kind of try to get into the neuroscience of it, and then why the tools work. And one size does not fit all. Sometimes it works for people and other times it doesn't. Sometimes we just tried something new, but the purpose is for people to leave a little bit better. That's the purpose. Okay. All right. So let me tell you what's actually happening in your brain when you're grieving. So grief hits your nervous system the same way that trauma does. So the same way that danger does as well. So your body doesn't know the difference between a physical threat and an emotional one. It does know that something is wrong though, and that we have to protect ourselves. So your brain goes into overdrive. So last week, as I'm going through, I'm like, why the heck do I keep forgetting stuff? It's so frustrating because I'm just trying to function like normal, like we always do, right? But I kept forgetting stuff, and you can't help that. So it was frustrating for me to sit in that, but that's part of it. So your brain goes into overdrive is the point. So I'm trying to make sense of something that doesn't make sense. It's processing an absence. And while it's doing that, you still have to show up for work and answer emails and take care of people. So things feel off, and you might be more forgetful. Like if you've ever walked into a room and then you forget why you walked in there, and then you get mad at yourself, like something's wrong with you, but it's not, nothing is wrong with you. Literally your brain is overloaded. So if you get upset quicker than usual, your patience is thin. Little things that normally wouldn't bother you, they suddenly feel like they're too much. Yeah, your brain is your nervous system is already running hot. And so it doesn't take that much just to tip you over, and it might feel exhausting even though you didn't do anything physically demanding. That is because processing grief takes energy, and it takes a lot of it. So if you're in that state, then it's like, okay, what do I do? And those are the ways that you're like, okay, this is hard. I don't know what to do. Something is wrong. And usually you need rest. So I learned in therapy how to change your subconscious narrative. Oh, okay. You thought that was the topic. Okay. I mean, you don't have to throw that out. I think that's probably still helpful. But yeah, I'm talking about grief today, but thank you for sharing that. So yeah. Okay. So processing takes a lot of energy. So you might feel numb, you might feel disconnected, you might feel like you're just watching your life happen, right? Those are the ways that usually our brain will process that. So your brain's protective mechanisms, it shuts down emotions when feeling everything would be too much. So it doesn't mean that you're broken though. A lot of people respond with that. They'll say I lost somebody, or it could be, it doesn't even have to be a person. It could be a job. It could be like that you had for 20 years, or you thought you'd had your whole life, and now you're just like in this state of numbness or sadness or whatever. It doesn't have to be a death when you're grieving something. It could be a person that's still here. Maybe they have dementia and they're not the same anymore, or something like that. Like, all of that is grief. And so, if you ever feel like you're numb or disconnected or anything like that, like, that's just part of it. That is part of your brain trying to make sense of it. And so, it's not anything wrong with it, but it's just, okay, let's slow it down a little bit. And most of the time, people are hard on themselves. They're like, I should be handling this better. I should be moving through this faster. I should be getting back to normal. But there really is no back to normal. Like, it looks different now because there's a loss in play now. So we can't go back to before the loss because it doesn't exist anymore. So forward is what that looks like, and it looks different before. So that's the goal. The goal is forward movement, not perfection or anything like that, not holding yourself to an impossible standard. It really is just, okay, how do I move this forward? So okay, so two patterns that happen when grief hits. Usually, one is shutdown. And so we all know what shutdown looks like: that isolation, that withdrawal, that disappearal, that I'm not going to answer this phone anymore, or right now, I'm not going to show up to this thing. And you just stop engaging. And it's not because you don't care, but maybe you feel like you don't have the capacity. So, in the comments, I find this very refreshing. Appreciate the genuine, sincere, caring advice and honest sharing. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's me. If you see me on a podcast or see me in person, I am the same person, genuine, and I try to keep it that way. So I appreciate you saying that. So yeah, a lot of people think like you, oh, this person just doesn't care, or whatever, but really they don't see that person does not have the capacity, that they're going through hell and back, and you don't even see it, right? So that's somebody that may be shutting down, right? And that's why I always say operate in kindness, because we really don't know what people are going through. So the second way, the second pattern that we see is over functioning. So that's the person that stays busy, that takes care of everybody else, doesn't sit still. They keep moving because stopping feels dangerous. I had somebody tell me a few weeks ago, they were like, I don't want to start crying because I might not stop. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad you said that, right? Because there is a natural stop to that process. And if you never let yourself go there, then you'll never see that. But the truth is how our biology works. If you start crying, you are bound to stop at some point, right? And you might need that emotional release. So I'm glad that that person brought the topic into the room, because I could share with them, hey, actually go ahead and cry. Go ahead and get messy. You ain't got to do it right now. You can do it later. But whatever feels good to you, go ahead and let them tears drop, because your body might be saying, hey, this is the only way to release. And then you might feel better afterwards. And if you're afraid that it's going to not come to a stopping point, it absolutely is. Try it. Let me know what happens. But anyways, so when you're over functioning, though, usually it's socially rewarded. I think that's the problem sometimes with over functioning, right? People praise you for being strong, and they say, you are holding it all together. Oh my goodness, you're not falling apart. Great job, but internally you're exhausted, because over functioning isn't the same as processing, right? You're managing, you're surviving, but you're not actually dealing with what's underneath. And eventually that's going to catch up to you. So let me be clear. I'm not saying don't function. You have to. Life doesn't stop. But I'm just saying, just because you can push through it doesn't mean that you're processing anything. So functioning and healing are two different things, and you can do both. But you have to be intentional about it. And a lot of us aren't. So sometimes we get focused on keeping it together, that we never really give ourselves space to actually grieve. And absolutely, Nia, I call that autopilot as well. Yes, you're absolutely right. So when we get into that autopilot, we're not really functioning. Well, I mean, we're not really processing. We are functioning, but we're not processing. And so we all do that too, by the way. Like, nobody is exempt from this. And I thought it would be perfect to use myself as an example because I just lost my grandmother last week. Or, yeah, time is weird right now, but yeah, 2 weeks ago. Just had the funeral last week. So I thought it's a perfect time for an example, right? Because I'm going through the autopilot, but also I'm really proud of myself for how I handled the week. Like, I don't think you can like get good at grief, but I think I'm proud of how I allowed my feelings to be expressed. I took a day off work. The next day I felt like I needed to work, so I did a half day. The next day I did a full day, and the next 2 days I knew I had a lighter schedule. So I was like, I got this. I got this week. This is what this week looks like for me. This is what my best looks like today, right? Because our best looks different every day. My best might look like 100% today, but tomorrow 70% is all I got. 30% is all I got, or whatever, right? Apply it to yourself. But it looks different every day. And we have to kind of like look out for the patterns. Like, am I shutting down? Am I overdoing? And, the answer to that is to slow it down a bit so that we can recognize it. So, oh, okay, John, so you see somebody that is over functioning in your life, and I see that a lot too. And I wonder sometimes if it's like generational as well, where, yeah, like, so this person has known a lot of loss and grief in their life. So again, we don't talk about this stuff. It's not a subject in school. Like, where are we supposed to learn this? And that's why I thought it was an important topic, especially right while it's happening, right? But yeah, so duh, what do? Right? You overfunction or you shut down, one of the two, right? And usually you can see that if we look at our family line, usually we can see people in our family that do that, or ourselves, or our best friends, or whoever, right? And because we heal in community. But the thing is, if you've been in autopilot so long, it's hard to, break it or interrupt it. Doesn't mean it's impossible, but it has to be very intentional. And so somebody who learns to function like that, their brain is like, okay, this is good. We're going to keep moving. This is what works, but usually there's some struggle beneath that. So, but yeah, very real, very relatable. Like I said, most of our families, we can probably look at our family members and see like, oh, okay, this person works better when they overfunction, or this person works better when they shut down for a little bit. And hopefully, it's not a long period of time, but sometimes it is. But recognizing it, so that we can maybe function a little bit better for ourselves, yeah, grief does cause time to slip, my goodness. And yeah, because it's like you're looking at your time and you're like, what day is it? And I do that on a regular week. Oh my gosh. So yeah, a little grief in there. It takes a lot. It takes a lot. I'm looking at that calendar constantly trying to keep myself on track. But that's very real, right? So when you're focused on keeping it together, you need to give yourself space to actually grieve, right? So what do you actually do with this though? Because that's the whole point of this conversation, right? Why is a dependent doing a live video? Homegirl, I'm not a dependent, honey. I was in the Army, okay, for 9 years. Thank you, though. Thank you for your comment. Wondering how fast. Go ahead and run up there, right? Because there's always a replay, okay? So definitely listen to your body for sure. Yeah, Lynn, I was in the Army. I don't always start my episodes off like that, but yeah, I was in the Army. I speak a lot to veterans, entrepreneurs. I help veterans. I partner with the Headstrong Project. Shout out to them. They do 30 free trauma sessions for veterans. So if you need a little help in the trauma area, reach out to them because they provide that service at no cost to you. So moving on though. Okay, so why did we even talk about this at all, right? Because knowing what's happening in your brain is one thing. So navigating it is another. What actually helps though is naming it. So There's a psychologist. His name is Dan Siegel, and he has the Name It to Tame It. So if you're a researcher like me and you feel like Googling that, go ahead. Dan Siegel is his name. But I really love his work because it talks about like how to calm it down in the brain if you name it. So that's the same thing that's happening here. If we're naming it, okay, this is grief. It changes the game because now my brain needed to hear that. And when you say it, you're telling your brain, okay, this is real. This makes sense. This is why I feel the way I feel. And that alone calms some of the chaos. But because when you don't name it, your brain usually will spiral because it's looking for something. It's confused. It's scanning for answers. So when you give it language, a lot of times it settles. So you're not going crazy. You're grieving. And when you name it, that confusion, or when you name it, it helps the confusion not be as heavy. So when you're thinking about like what you're going through, or if you're struggling with anything, if you put a name to it, usually that'll calm it a bit. Oh, I'm angry right now because I'm hungry. Now I can solve it. I can go get something to eat. If I'm grieving, something has happened to me. I'm not just waking up forgetting stuff or, whatever. But it's just like, okay, now I have a name to it, so now I can solve it, or I can just at least understand what's happening for me right now. So that is one of the things that you can do, like if that's happening. One of the real life ways that you can apply, like what is this that I'm feeling right now? I'm grieving. Oh, because I lost my job and I thought I'd have that job forever. Yeah, this hurts, at the end of the day. John, I understand. Listen, I understand. What branch were you, John? Because I know for me, everybody looks and they're like, oh, you look so young to have all these aches and pains, especially at the VA. And I'm like, doesn't matter the age, right? Like we were out there running and jumping and doing all these things, right? So our bodies, if you've served, your body has taken a beating, That's oh my gosh, another grief, right? Another grief. My body can't do what it used to do. Oh my goodness. That is grief right there. Because I swear, I wish I could do all the things that I used to be able to do. And it doesn't help when someone's like, you look young. Okay. That does not affect my body. That it actually still hurts, even though I look young. And I probably will forever look young. I don't know. My nanny that I just, my grandmother that I just lost, that I just was talking about, was 102. And that lady, I think she still did not look 100. So it has nothing to do with the looks, how we feel, right? So, so another thing, so going back to the real life applications, right? So we talked about naming it. Name it. Give it a name. I'm grieving. See if it calms it down a bit, quiets the noise a little bit. And then the second thing is to lower the bar. You do not have to be at 100% if you are grieving, right? Some days you're at 60, some days you're at 40, and you still show up. And that's what counts. So you don't have to measure yourself against a version of you that existed before this happened. So like that version doesn't exist right now, and that's okay. So you're in a different season. Your capacity is different. So adjust your expectation to match your reality. Some days it's going to be, I got through the day and I didn't snap on nobody. And, we're counting that, right? That still counts. Some days it's going to be, I did the bare minimum and that was enough. And that's, I tell people, our bare minimum days are eating something, getting something to drink, a shower, brush your teeth, move your body, take a 5-minute walk or whatever. All of that counts. That is your bare minimum day. We do have to eat. We do have to drink water. We do have to move our body, and hygiene is important. So if that's all you did today, listen, pat yourself on the back, because sometimes we just don't have anything else to give that day. Now, if that lasts for longer, then we want to ask, for professional help. I would say my rule of thumb is like 2 weeks. If you're struggling for like more than that, get some help. You don't got to do it by yourself. There's help out there. Okay, John, you were a rescue firefighter, EMT, paramedic. Okay. Wow, you served from 1998 to 2009 and deployed and deployed 7 times to war zones and spent 4.5 years in war zones altogether. My goodness, John. Whew, shout out to you. You did some work. Put in that work. I hope you're living good now. Thank you for your service as well. And everybody else that's listening that served or catching the replay, thank you as well. Yeah, I think we have to acknowledge what we did too, because sometimes I don't think we realize how much we did in the service. And we just like go on about our business and live our best lives and stuff like that. But it's like we actually did a lot in our time that we served. Like let's recognize that as well. Okay, so the last thing that I want to leave you with when we talk about like real life application, so we talked about naming it, what it is, right? And then we talked about lowering the bar for, temporarily, right? We're going to lower the bar because perfection doesn't exist with grief. We can't do both. And you don't get bonus points for running yourself into the ground while you're grieving. So we're going to lower that bar just a little bit temporarily, right? Because if you're a high functioning adult, you want to high function. That's how you operate. There's nothing wrong with that. But if grief hits you, we need to lower the bar just temporarily, right? And then the last thing is to find a safe place. And so you don't need 10 people to vent to. You just need one where you don't have to perform. It could be a person, it could be a space, an environment where you can just be. And that's what you want for this time period as you're pouring into yourself. You don't have to explain yourself. That's where you want to be, in this place where I can just be. I don't have to hold it all together. I can fall apart if I need to. And for some of you, that is a therapist, right? When I make a therapy appointment, I gotta be, super real with my therapist. I can just be who I am. If I couldn't do that, then I would need a new therapist, right? I need to feel like I can talk about my stuff. For some, it's a friend who gets it. Have some good friends in your corner. I know I do. I have friends that get it. Sometimes I don't even have to say nothing and they get it. And I love it. Every friend that has checked on me in the last week or so, like that kind of stuff doesn't go missed. I love it. I love that I've created this circle for myself that pours back into me when I need it. So, John, they gave you 100%. Because sometimes that's hard to get, okay? So, yeah, and I'm also sorry that you had to medically retire that early, but at the same time, rightfully so. Rightfully so, right? If you went through all of that, 100% in a medical retirement, I'm here for it. I'm also medically retired myself. Yeah. So, awesome. I'm glad you are being taken care of, at least in that way. Use your perks, okay? I just went to a natural, what was it? One of the national parks, and I learned that we get a military card. If you don't have one, you could just go there and it's free. And it used to be annual, but now it's lifetime. So you can go visit like all the parks. And there's like more than 2,000 of them. So I'm about to be exploring when I feel good enough to do that. So just sharing that little bit of information too, for people that like to get out there and be in nature. It is free. Like you get your whole car in for free. It's like $20 a car. But if you have your military card, you can get your whole car for free. So everybody with you gets in for free too. So I got to explore Great Falls yesterday. Okay. So once Cooper versus Aaron, 1958, held a ruling, violations start getting prosecuted again. Veterans will have a greater outlook of success post-service. Title 50 needs it. I agree. I mean, people, like when they get out post-service, should have a greater likelihood, right? Like that's for everybody that served. So I'm not familiar with Cooper versus Aaron, 1958, or any of that, but I do agree with the last part that you said, where veterans will have a greater likelihood of success post-service. That's what I hope for everybody. So I will have to like research the other part of what you said, Brandon. Okay, so what was I talking about? The last thing. Oh, having your safe person. So, yeah, have a safe space. So, Sometimes people also join support groups. That's the one thing I didn't mention. If that's something that you feel like you want to try, do that. A lot of times we need it though. We heal in community. So who is your community? If you don't have a community, how do you create a community? What do you even want it to look like if you don't have one? And then build from there. So we can't, process grief if we're performing all the time. And sometimes you just need somewhere where you can be human. So find that place if you don't have it already, because we can't heal when we're performing. We don't need to perform. If we're in our healing stage, that's what we need to be focused on. Not our performance or how we show up, or I have to say it this way because this person will get offended or whatever. Like, no, I need to be in a safe space so I can just be myself. So there's an identity piece that comes with grieving too that I wanted to talk about. So it gets a little bit tricky. A lot of people, they don't just struggle with the loss itself, right? Because while we're grieving, it changes who we are as well. So grief does change you. We know a lot of times we talk a lot about PTSD and the effects of PTSD, right? And we know that changes us because we feel it. But we don't talk about post-traumatic growth. And that is like, my brain can heal. And I know this because I've gone through the journey of healing, and it took therapy. It took EMDR. It took rest. It took exposure therapy. And those are the things, that's my little cocktail that helped me be well and better. So you just have to find yours. But it does change you. But what we don't hear usually is like, not that you can change back before the grief, but you can keep changing to where it turns into growth. It turns into life experience. It turns into, here's what I've created and built from everything that I've been through. That's the post-traumatic growth part that we don't really talk about as much. So your identity is being built on like strong and the person that holds it all together and being the person to rely on. And then grief hits, and then we feel like, oh my gosh, I'm failing. I can't, I'm supposed to be strong. People are depending on me, and I don't have time to fall apart. And so you don't. And so you keep showing up and you keep performing and you keep holding it all together. But inside you're barely holding on. So let me tell you something. You are still you. You are just in a different season of yourself. So grief doesn't erase who you are. It just adds a layer. So if you think about it that way, you're still strong. You're also hurting. You're still capable. You're also struggling. You're still the person that people rely on. You also need support. So all of that can be true at the same time. We don't have to pick. You don't have to choose between being strong and being human. You get to be both. And honestly, people who learn to hold both, those are the people that see the strongest versions of themselves. Not because they push through grief, but because they learned how to work with it. And so that's the idea behind it. It's like, okay, I can still be this strong person that I am, but also today, I'm really struggling. And I'm keeping it real with myself. I am naming it. I am lowering the bar like we just talked about. I might find a safe person so that I can express that. Or a journal to write it down in, or whatever. Like, just being real with what I need in this moment, and knowing that also that it's a temporary moment. So I always leave a challenge with you each week. So let me leave this with you. If you, so you don't get points for like suffering in silence, right? So pushing through everything alone is not strength. That's survival mode. And as someone said earlier, that's your autopilot. Not wrong per se, right? But can we do it a little bit better? Maybe. Let's give it a shot. So real strength is knowing when to slow down and when to actually process what's happening. Now, if we're like trying to get through our workday or something like that, maybe that's not the time. But maybe when we get home, we can do that. So let's figure out a time to fit that in, right? Because if not, then it's just going to like take its own time from you, and you don't want that. So when you think about what real strength is, it really is letting yourself be human. So if you carry something heavy, like, I see you, right? You're not weak. You're not behind. You're just processing. And if you realize that you've been functioning but not really dealing with what's underneath, that's the challenge. It's time to give yourself space to do that. And you don't have to rush your healing, but let's stop pretending like we don't need it. Like, that's the thing. So, giving yourself a little bit of time, a little bit of space, it doesn't have to be a long, drawn out thing either. Like, literally, if I intentionally this evening set aside 10 minutes to like go there and just kind of like explore what's going on in my brain, that's enough. That's all I had to give, because maybe I had a busy work day. I'm running my business, doing all of this and that. Okay. So, the thing is, I need to give myself time and space to process. This message that just came up, I'm gonna review that after Brandon, because my chat is cutting it off for me, but I'm gonna get back to you in the chat. Okay. All right. So thank you for putting that too. Appreciate that. Okay. So before I go, I just want to share, that's what I've been doing the last few weeks. I've been working with grief and not against it. And that's why I think I shared earlier, like, I'm very proud of myself for going there and not hiding or not pushing through. Because normally I'm a push through person. I know some of y'all can't relate. But I slowed down, and it was actually really difficult to slow down. So that's why we try stuff, right? It is difficult to slow down sometimes. So it's not your imagination, but it's also really good for you too. Just letting it exist while I'm moving forward. And that's actually part of what I'm building into my TED Talk that I'm getting ready to do next month. TEDx Talk is what I'm getting ready to do next month. This idea that we don't have to fight our hard moments to move through them. We can work with them. And so if you want to know more about my personal work, it's bio.my first name in my middle initial last name, if you want to know more about my work. But take care of yourself this week. And also, we have our contact email, which is the reset at WTFnationradio.com. That is where you can shoot me, hey, let's talk about this. You can say, hey, what was that website that you said I could get 30 free trauma sessions? The Headstrong Project. Shoot it to you or whatever. Like, you can use the email for whatever you need it to be. Also, if you have an emergency or if you're really struggling, text or call 988, because that's going to really help you not be alone in whatever you're going through. So don't sleep on that number. But yes, resilience is not optional. It is the mission. I'm Dr. J, and you got this. This is the reset with Dr. J, where we take those WTF moments that life can hand us and we turn them into breakthroughs. Had a good time with y'all today. See y'all next Sunday.
It's my reset, walking head high, that's the preset. Got the J in the chair, you can breathe it. Exhale, we gon' turn that hurt into detail. It's my reset, new page, new frame, hit the refresh. If you made it to the screen, that's a big flex. Type here in the box, that's progress. That's progress. You've been carrying that weight since the group chat. Smiling in the pic, but you knew that. Heart say break, mind say keep going. Now you in the lobby and the lights start glowing. Edge laid, hoodie on, still holy. Tear stains on the sleeve, still cozy. Black girl doc with the big gold hoops. Say your name and the shame get loose. It's my reset, walking head high, that's the preset. The J in the chat, you can breathe it. Exhale, we gon' turn that hurt into detail. It's my reset, new page, new frame, hit the refresh. If you made it to the screen, that's a big flex. Type here in the box, that's progress. That's progress. We wave when we wade through the deep end. We brave when we break, then we deepen. You're safe in the space when you log in. Drop one word for your check-in. It's my reset, walking head high, that's the preset. The J in the chat, you can breathe it. Exhale, we gon' turn that hurt into detail. It's my reset, new page, new frame, hit the refresh. If you made it to the screen, that's a reflex. Type here in the box, that's progress.